Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 256.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Today we're going to head to San Diego and visit with Mr. Steve Evatt. Now, Steve has his own marketing company, Evatt Marketing Company, and what he does, he takes products that people are trying to get out into the marketplace, and he shares them with writers and bloggers. It's quite that simple. And he's interested in small companies with outdoor-related products, but you just don't have a clue how to bring it to market on a large scale. Well, Steve does, and he loves to help people get to where they want to go with their outdoor products. So listen up. Take some notes and think about what Steve has to say, because it could make a difference in your outdoor business. Hey, listeners, don't forget to text 33444 Food Plot for your free Food Plot ebook. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit on you guys and gals across North America today. We're going to meet with Steve Evatt. Now, Steve is a niche marketer in the outdoor products industry, and Steve's going to explain exactly what that means. So, Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's, as we talked in the warm-up, Steve, you're really a niche person. You do some things really well. So in the next 5 minutes, let's share with the listeners how you serve the outdoor industry.
Okay, well, first off, a little bit of background. I was 21 years with FMG Publications. I was the advertising manager of American Handgunner magazine. So I've been around the industry for a long time, coming up on my 25th SHOT Show here in January, pretty soon. So been doing it for a while. 3 years ago, I went out on my own and started my own little niche company, just simply called Evatt Marketing. And what I do is one thing and one thing only, and that is I put companies' products together with qualified writers, both in the print media and the new media, digital. And I make it happen for companies that, especially if they're a small company that maybe has just a great product, but they don't know how to get it out there. They can't afford a big advertising campaign, but they need eyeballs on the product. This is what I do. I step in and introduce them to one of my 200 or so writers and bloggers, or several of them. I try and get 10 of their products out a month to various writers if they could afford to have that much product out. So that's basically what I do. I'm a facilitator of product reviews.
And I asked Steve how much hunting he did. He said he killed some hogs. And Steve, 21 years advertising manager, American Handgunner magazine. So he sort of kind of knows the industry a little bit, folks. So, I'm just thinking of many of my guests. They get a product, and I can't stop naming them because I can't name 250 or they would go the whole show. But the thing is that if you have a product and you have an idea that you put together, cobbled together, Steve may be the person that can help you get started. As far as fees and all that's all up to Steve. But the interesting thing, and why I wanted him on the show, because I've met so many of you, and I know so many of you guys and gals have some great ideas and great product that just need some boost. And social media is great. Digital marketing is great. Amazon is great, and it goes on and on and on. But when you look at a guy like Steve, let's talk about the first thing you bring to the table, writers and bloggers. How does all that work?
Well, over the past 3 years, in working with Epicosity, which is a full-service agency out of South Dakota, they're one of my clients, I have developed a list of writers, bloggers, YouTubers, people that I've met at SHOT Show, get recommendations from other writers, and of course I know a lot of the print writers because I was with FMG for so long, and of course we always hobnobbed with all the people. Unfortunately Harris is gone, but now they're being taken over by somebody else, and I think a lot of their writers are coming back, and we'll have those back on board again. And of course know the people at Intermedia and those kind of things. So what I do is I put out a general call every month of all of my clients. When I add new clients, I put in descriptions of their products, and I send that out to all 200 of my current list of product reviewers. And if they're interested or they're working on something that might jump out at them that they want to do a little piece on, or they want to play with and see what happens. And the only thing that I require of the writers is that they actually do something on it, or if, God forbid, there's a problem, they let us know beforehand before they write anything on it, so that we have an opportunity, at least my companies that I represent, have an opportunity to fix or repair whatever is the problem before they bash it, if so to speak. I try and vet all the writers to make sure that they're not just looking to get an audience by being vicious about things. There's some guys out there like that, and they're just not part of my group. And I also want to make sure that they're not just looking for free things, because I have to protect my clients' interests as well too. And on the client responsibility, that when they send a product out, once it's been reviewed, I never expect the reviewer to have to pay to ship it back, especially for, say, a gun or something like that. So we always make sure that the gun companies and whatever, they send a pickup label so that it doesn't cost the writer anything after he or she is done reviewing the product.
Okay, so I've got I'm thinking I've got a little product. A friend down in Florida that has a product, and so he goes, boy, this might help me. So walk me through. So I call you. Let's take it away from somebody else, because, like I said, I can't name everybody. So I've got a product, and I call it Bruce's Swish, for lack of a better thing. And it's an outdoor product, and it's helpful when you're doing long-range glassing for sheep. I just came off a sheep hunt, so I'm thinking about this product. So I'm developing a product. I bring it to Forrest. I get it built, and I say, hey, I've got a product that'll help you steady your optics in the field, any angle. So what happens now? Okay,
what I would do is I would ask you to supply me with a one sheet, which is basically just a spec sheet. Hopefully it has some good photos or whatever of the product, but lets the writer know exactly what this will do. And then I just make sure that I have a contact name at your company. You might have a person in the back office that's going to be taking my emails to fulfill the orders. But what I do is I send that one sheet out to all of my writers and ask them if they're interested, and let them take a look at it. And if any of them are interested, they email back to me saying, yeah, Steve, I want to do something on that next month, so let's get it rolling now. And I send an email to your representative at Bruce's company saying, please meet writer XYZ. He works for a website called XYZ, and he would like to review the new product for sheep hunting. And I have the address for them already, and all they have to do is send the product to him. The writer will get it, review it. He or she lets me know by sending me a link when the product has been reviewed and the post is up, regardless of what medium it's been put up on. And I send that on to your company and let you know. Then if you'd like, you could share it on your website. And that's basically it. It's a pretty simple process. I don't send the products out myself. I just connect the company and the reviewer.
Yeah, you connect the dots with 21 years of service. Some people in outdoor media, industry, and so I'm enamored of this because with so many people, and necessity is the mother of invention, and so many guys are from tree stand, ground blinds. We got handicapped, disabled people hunting, youth hunting. So there's a myriad of products available. And as you and I talked in the warm-up, there's just not people just don't know how to bring it to market. And I can think of 20, 30, 50, almost 100 different people that I've come in contact with over the last 18 months that, it would be good to talk to you. So how does somebody get in touch with you, Steve? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way is just simply through, drop me an email line. It's Steve@Evatt, E-V as in Victor, A-T-T, marketing.com. And I'll be more than happy to return your email as soon as I get it. I'm especially looking for new writers that I can add to my list. Well, not new writers, but writers that I don't know about. So if you haven't worked with me before and you'd like to be a part of my reviewing list, I'd love to talk with you. And I'm also looking for, like I said, companies that need help. I'll give you a quick example of one that was really kind of a fun one to work on and talk about tiny. These guys make one thing. It's two retired cops. They make one thing and one thing only. They make a notched out 1911 hammer. Then the way it's been cut, it reduces the amount of strength it takes to pull back the slide on a notoriously hard to pull slide of a 1911. Any 1911, doesn't matter the caliber. Any 1911 this thing will work on. And it really is a godsend for older guys like me who have lost some upper body strength, or for people who have some disabilities that maybe have a hard time with the 1911 slide. And also women, a lot of women have a real hard time with the 1911 slide, and understandably so. So they are very hard to pull back. So the hammer is the answer to their problems. Well, I had this reviewed by Bob Boyd at Shooting Illustrated, and if anybody knows Bob, he's a great guy. He's in a wheelchair. He's the editor of Shooting Illustrated, and he loved it. And he said it really worked like a charm for him. It made it a lot easier on him. So that's the kind of company that I'm looking for. Somebody that has maybe a niche little thing that they need some help getting the word out on, and I'd love to help them.
And that, folks, since we've been launched August 31st, 2015, about 68,000 of you have downloaded and listened to the show. And again, we all want to move the ball forward. We all want to become better hunters. We all want to have the best gear available. We want to have gear that works. And to me, again, that's why Steve's on the show, is because here's an avenue. Because I've got some thoughts on just about anything. Just ask me. That's a joke, folks. But to start meeting professionals, I'm going to ATA in January. Steve, do you go to SHOT Show? I know you go to SHOT Show. Do you go to ATA also? I
used to go to ATA years ago. When I did some work for Shooting Industry on their advertising. But no, it's usually SHOT Show, NRA, the NASGW, the wholesaler show. I do EWA in Germany every year, and those are my main ones.
Okay. So when you go to the SHOT Show, when you see a new product that's stuck in the back room, they're not on the main floor, they're just stuck someplace. They're at the SHOT Show though. How do you help those guys, or what's your approach with them?
Well, what I do with them is find out a little bit about the product, talk with them about it. They're always happy to chat up about it. And if they are interested, I let them know what I do, give them my card, and I take their card and follow up with them to see if they are interested. I send them a sample agreement of what I do with all of my customers. It's very simple, straightforward, but there's no surprises. I'm going to try and get 10 products out for you, and in return, all you need to do is make sure that you get it to the writer in a timely fashion and pay for the shipping to get it back from them, or keep it, whatever you want to do with it. But it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple.
Now, do you do consulting? As I'm thinking, okay, my Swiss product for sheep hunting, and I go, gee, I'm a busy guy. I got a job, wife, kids, dog, the whole thing, and I love to go hunting. So, it's here, but I don't know how to market it. Do you do that also?
I will recommend certain people it depends on their income level. If they're very small, then I have people that I know that do things that I can't do. I am not a guy that can put together a print ad or a digital ad. That's not my forte. I just don't do it. But then of course if they need larger marketing, then of course I send them to Epicosity, who I've worked with for the 3 years now, and they're a great company and they know their stuff. And that's the kind of company you want to be with if you've got the budget for it.
Okay, so you can help somebody say, hey, I don't do this, but I'll help you get to the right people.
Absolutely.
So you can get a roadmap or action steps or whatever you want to call it to say, hey, you're here today. This is where you want to be, because we both know that it takes 3 to 5 years to make a profit. And I don't care if you're selling gold; it still takes it still takes a while. Some people have a misconception. Oh, this is the greatest thing to slice bread. I'll just put it on the web and people go to Amazon and buy it. Not so much. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and exactly. And give me an example of what I can do for them. It's nothing big, but this camera hammer, for example, they didn't even have really a spec sheet on it. So I gave them the name of a gal that I've worked with for many years, and she does one thing only too, and that's like put up PRs and make sales sheets for people. And she's very inexpensive. It's $150, I think. So for $150, I had a professionally made sheet for her. The camera hammer paid for that, but now they have that they can use on their sales efforts. But it's also something that I can send out to my clients on the camera hammer. So if they need a video done or something like that, then we can go up the ladder, and I've got other people that do that I can recommend to them.
Let's talk about the outdoor industry. You mentioned in the warm-up about, helping the little guys out because they never get seen. Just some tips, share some tips right now if you can that, hey, you get the idea, you got a product. Now, we're kind of talking about it the whole time, but let's drill down and really specifically say, okay, this is why I like to help the little guy.
One of the things that I know that I've seen a million times with small companies is that they don't take advantage of what doesn't cost them anything. And by that I mean almost every print magazine, and of course print is becoming a tougher one to deal with now, but almost every one of them have new product sections that don't cost the company a dime. And each new company needs to take advantage of that. All you need is a high-res color photo and about 150 words of copy and send it in to them. Make it as easy on the magazine as possible so that they can just pop it right in. And you're on your way to basically a free ad, at least for one issue of that magazine, and all the magazines do it. So
what was that again? Just kind of repeat what you just said, please.
It's taking advantage of new product sections in print magazines. In other words,
go ahead.
Every magazine that I know of, at least on the firearm side, they have what's called a new products section, and it's basically just a photo of a new product or a product, whatever. It doesn't have to be new all of that time, and a little 150 words of text underneath, and they run it for free for you. Now, they're going to want you to advertise someday, but you don't have to that time, and so you might as well take advantage of it for free.
Now, let's talk about what type of companies are doing this. Are these digital media companies? Are these print companies?
That's mostly in print.
Okay.
Like FMG Publications, they have that kind of a section. Intermedia, which does guns and ammo, and quite a few other magazines, they have that. So does Engaged Media, which does Gun World and a whole bunch of other magazines as well. So all of those magazines do what's called the new product releases. And any new company or small company should take advantage of that at least once a year.
That's as I call them, big buck nuggets, because you do that. How did they find out the contact person? Did they just send new product marketing director at XYZ company?
Yeah, you can usually, I know so many of them. I'd be happy if someone wants to email me. I'll be happy to give them some names of people that they can do it. You want it to go to the right place. It's usually a person in their marketing division that handles that, but I'd be happy to send them off some information if they want to know about the new product sections of different magazines.
Sure, and they send that to steve@evattmarketing.com, correct?
Steve at evattmarketing.com, correct.
Great. Well, that's kind of interesting. So that is helping a tip for the little guy. Any other suggestions?
I highly recommend Facebook pages. Get a Facebook account and start trying to get as many, and look at all the people that are in the outdoor industry, and start liking them or asking them for likes or to be friends or whatever. And the more that join your group, the more they share what you have coming out. A lot of times when I've got a product review that's been done by, let's say, thearmsguide.com, which is a nice little blogging outfit. They will share it on their Facebook page. I then share it on mine. I give it to the company that originated the product. They share it on their Facebook page, and it just expands to, all over the place because it gets shared and shared and shared. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree. And what's your Facebook and Twitter sites?
I don't have a Twitter site.
Okay. Do you got a Facebook?
I do. It's just Steve Evatt, E-V-A-T-T. I am going to eventually do one for myself. I have to admit I was a little fearful of this growing too fast, too big, because I'm a one-man shop. But I do share everything through that Steve Evatt Facebook page, and someday I'll have the real thing when I feel more comfortable that I can handle all the business.
Yeah. Well, you are like me. You are retired, right?
No, I'm not actually. I'm 62. I will someday, but no, this is my business. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I sold 21 years at American Handgunner and said, well, he might be retired.
No, and I guess you could call it that. I'm working out of my house, but I'm not taking Social Security yet.
Okay, so you're making a couple of bucks are coming over the transom or in the mail or whatever.
Yep.
Each month. Well, that's great. Steve, when you look at the industry, especially let's stick to the whitetail hunting industry, where do you see that going when you go to SHOT Show and all the other shows you go to? How big is it going to get?
Bruce, I hate to say that that's a question beyond my pay grade, and I don't want to sound stupid, but being that I am not a whitetail hunter, and I don't pretend to be, and I don't want to sound like I know it all. I'm an outdoor industry guy, and what I mean by that is I like everything about it. But when I can't find the answers, I go to the right source to find out. And
let's talk about this. How big is the outdoor industry? Shooting, hunting, and fishing.
It's getting massive, and now that what's the name of that show that happens in Utah twice a year in Salt Lake City? The outdoor retailer show? No, is that what it is?
Well, Fanaz, Salt Lake City. I'm thinking of Reno with Fanaz and mule deer and elk and all that.
For years, the show that I'm thinking about, they didn't want anything to do with the firearms industry, so that they never let any firearms people in. But they were all about the camping and the camping, the fishing, kayaking, rock climbing. Well, in the past couple of years, they are starting to merge and allow, because so many guys from the military have joined their ranks as far as working for a lot of these companies, and the military guys do enjoy the shooting sports of various kinds. So more and more, as more of these guys from the military get involved in working for these companies, we're seeing that part of the industry, which was not real friendly to the firearm side, is becoming more friendly because everyone's doing business. This thing is growing. And the more you see of YouTube and videos on it, and That's what's doing it. That's what's driving it.
And I'll just share this. In my 22 days in the mountains, I was amazed how many hikers. These are not hunters. Yep. Just plain out hikers had a sidearm. Open carry. Colorado, you don't need a permit. Just open carry. Yep. And so many people. I'm just thinking of guys on their ATVs. They were just ATVing and going up to fish a lake. They were fishermen. And I asked, I said, why do you carry? Because he just said, times have changed and you just never know, and I'm going to protect myself. And I think, of the hundreds of people that I watched climb some of the 14ers in Colorado, a number of them, had weapons on them. And it's just amazing, the time we live in. I guess that's what it is. You truly don't ever know. And, our bear population is pretty high in Colorado. We get cats. And so there's that part, but there's also somebody that isn't a very nice person either. We're seeing more and more of them.
Unfortunately, that does happen. So that marriage is becoming stronger and stronger every year, and I see this industry just booming. It does so much for the economy. It's amazing.
And it's just, your background's in shooting sports, but you're representing outdoor companies that aren't shooting related. Is that correct?
Yes. I don't have a lot of them right now, but yes, I do. For example, one that I'm getting ready to sign here, they're not signed yet, but I should have them by the next week or so, is they make the bags, like the ripstop bags for range bags and backpacks and that kind of stuff. And they're very high quality, but they're very small. Hardly anybody knows about them at all. So I'm going to get some of their products into the hands of some of the YouTubers especially, so that they can really do a nice video on it and that kind of thing. And by the way, this doesn't cost the company that I'm representing anything except my little fee that I charge for the connection. So these guys, like let's say they're a big YouTube reviewer that everyone, I don't want to give out the names right now, but let's say he agrees to do it. He might do a 12-minute video on this new backpack or range bag and all the features and quality, all the features and benefits of it. And, that little company could take off because this guy's got 655,000 subscribers.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
And so when I send you X product, you forward it on, it goes through your toll booth, okay, but you're telling me the writer writes about it, he's got the product, and people go to his site because he's got the newest and the brightest and everything, and they get good information. Then he can take those 500,000 people that visit his site and sell advertising himself. How does he make any money by reviewing these products?
Especially on the YouTube channel, guys, they make money through their advertising. They have advertising that they take on that YouTube pays them actually to run these ads. So they, believe me, the YouTubers especially, they make some pretty good coin. They don't need to charge the client whose product they're reviewing. They
need the product. They need the product to keep the content fresh and bring up stuff. So people will say, hey, they are smoking hot. I'm going to go to that site because I know they're the best in outdoor recreational gear. Right.
And to be honest with you, there are some that are so big that they don't just take, they wouldn't even take something from me because they don't have time or they will charge. Some get so big that they actually charge to do it, and I don't go to those guys because I don't want my customers to have to pay that. So but the ones that are, really good quantity of subscribers, and they're willing to do it just because they want the content as well, and they know they're making their money from the advertising that YouTube supplies, then they're happy.
Interesting. I'm learning a lot. I hope listeners across North America, if you're sitting there and you get the best pulley system for your tree stand, I'm just trying to pull some stuff out of my thing, or the best rail cover so your your weapon doesn't clank or whatever. Think about not only Steve, and Steve's so gracious to be on the show, and I appreciate him, but think about your business and don't go it alone. I guess that would be my voice to the people. Just don't go it alone. There's a lot of talented people, and with social media and digital marketing, there's a lot of ways to bring your product to market. Your thoughts, Steve?
Well, and one of the things that I find, and it really kind of ticks me off, is that small companies that are, they're just a mom and pop type deal, but they've got a great little product. But let's say they were seen at some show, it doesn't matter whether it's a backyard gun show or the NRA show or whatever. They scraped enough money together to get a table, and some guy sees their product and he gets their business card and he writes to them that he's a blogger and he does this and he does that and he can get a lot of viewers for him. And again, it turns out to be some 15-year-old kid working out of his grandmother's basement. And what ticks me off about that is that this little company is hoping for, some real exposure, and the person who scammed them is just looking for something for free and doesn't take into the cost that it costs them for that little company that's trying to make a living. So what I do is I take that monkey off their back by vetting and making sure that the people that I send to will at least do something, and they at least have some kind of an audience. Doesn't have to be huge, but 1,000 or more is okay. It's maybe not for a big ticket item, but for smaller items, if they've got 1,000 followers, that you never know.
Yeah. It's just it's really interesting. Hey, Steve, we're at the point in the show that you have an opportunity to give shout outs to any of your people that helped you along the way, and props to somebody, and then we'll wrap the show.
Well, I want to thank Nancy Jo Adams of Life in Camo Media for introducing me to you. Nancy Jo is one of my reviewers for some of the products. Of course, hers are more, hunting related, and I understand that, but so are mine. Some of mine are hunting related, and I hope to get more. That's what I'm loving about this, is that I would love the opportunity to get more hunting related products and more writers like Nancy Jo. I would love to get people like her on board. I am especially looking for female writers in the outdoor industry, because that's such a growing segment, and people are making more and more products to help them out as well. So well, give and I just got to do this for Kirsty Pike. She's going sheep hunting here any day now. But Kirsty Pike is the CEO of PROIS, PROIS. So check her out. Catherine Grand is her lady that runs everything. Kirsty just makes everything work. So that's somebody you might touch base with, because they're probably one of the top women's apparel companies in the industry today. Well, I appreciate that. And if you have anybody else, if you want to drop me a line, an email with names, that would be wonderful.
Well, I'm just going to give. I'm going to make it easy, folks. I can't. It would take hours to do that. But here's the deal. If you go to send me an email, whitetailrendezvous@gmail.com, say, hey, Bruce, I'd like to connect with Steve, or better yet, just go direct to Steve at evattmarketing.com, and say, hey, I heard you on Whitetail Rendezvous, and I'd like to, I'd like to have a conversation, Steve. And so, on behalf of our listeners, thousands and thousands of listeners across North America, thank you, Steve, Evatt, for being on the show today.
Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Listen up to our next show and make it a point to listen to Dr. Ken Nordberg. Now, Dr. Ken's out of Minnesota, and he's been hunting whitetails longer than I have, and I've been hunting for 50 years, so he's really up there. But he's a very interesting guy, because he understands what it takes to hunt mature whitetails on public land in a wilderness setting about 3 miles south of the Canadian border. Yeah, there's a lot of wolves, and he competes with them, but they do very well in their deer camp every single year. So stay tuned. Dr. Ken's got some great information you want to hear.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.